This videos is created for educational and informational purposes only. Do not use this information to interfere with networks or devices you do not own or have permission to test. You are solely responsible for how you use this information. Every single time you connect to the internet, your device leaves behind one important piece of information: your IP address. Most people have heard the term before, but very few actually understand what it means. Some believe that if someone discovers their IP address, they can instantly hack their computer. Others think it reveals their exact home address, their passwords, or even every file stored on their device. But how much of that is actually true? Today we're going to find out. In this video, we'll take a real-world look at what information an IP address can reveal. We'll explore the same types of information that websites, network administrators, and cybersecurity professionals can legally access every day. We'll also examine what attackers often try to learn from an IP address, what they cannot see, and the simple steps you can take to better protect yourself online. To keep this demonstration safe and privacy-friendly, we'll only use example information and simulated lookups. No real personal data will be exposed. So let's start with the most basic question. What exactly is an IP address? Think of the internet like a massive global postal system. Every home has a street address, so mail can be delivered to the correct location. The internet works in a surprisingly similar way. Every device connected to a network needs an address so that information knows where to go. That address is called an Internet Protocol address, or simply an IP address. Whenever you open a website, watch a YouTube video, send an email, or play an online game, your device exchanges thousands of small pieces of information called packets. Each packet needs both a destination and a return address. Without an IP address, websites would have no idea where to send the information you've requested. It's one of the fundamental building blocks that makes the internet work. However, not every IP address is the same. Inside your home network, devices usually communicate using private IP addresses. Your laptop, smartphone, smart TV, printer, and gaming console all receive private addresses from your router. These addresses only exist within your local network. They're not visible to the rest of the internet. Your router then acts like a translator. It takes requests from every device inside your home and sends them to the internet using a single public IP address assigned by your internet service provider. That public IP address is what websites, online services, and remote servers actually see. For example, if 3 people in the same house browse different websites at the same time, those websites will often see exactly the same public IP address, even though each person is using a different device. This is completely normal. It also explains why simply knowing an IP address usually tells you information about the internet connection itself, not about a specific person sitting behind the keyboard. But that raises an interesting question. If someone knows your public IP address, what can they actually learn from it? Let's find out. Now that we understand what an IP address is, let's answer the question that most people are actually here for. What can someone really discover if they know your public IP address? To find out, let's perform a safe demonstration using an example IP address instead of a real one. Imagine we enter the address into a publicly available IP lookup service. Within seconds, the results begin to appear. The first thing we usually see is the Internet Service Provider, often called the ISP. This is simply the company that provides the internet connection. Depending on where you live, it could be a local broadband provider, a mobile carrier, a business network, or a cloud hosting company. Next, the lookup may display the country where the IP address is registered. In many cases, it can also estimate the city or general region. However, this is where many people become confused. IP geolocation is an estimate. It is not the same as GPS. It does not pinpoint the exact building, apartment, or room where someone is sitting. Sometimes it's reasonably accurate. Other times it can be dozens or even hundreds of kilometers away from the user's actual location. Many databases simply associate an IP address with the nearest major city or with the location of the internet provider's infrastructure. Another piece of information often shown is something called the Autonomous System Number, or ASN. Think of an ASN as an identifier for the organization managing part of the internet's routing infrastructure. While this sounds highly technical, it's incredibly useful for network administrators because it helps identify which organization owns or operates a particular network. The lookup may also reveal whether the IP address appears to belong to a residential internet connection, a business network, a cloud provider, or a virtual private network, commonly known as a VPN. For example, if an address belongs to a large cloud provider, security systems may treat it differently because cloud servers are frequently used for automated services. Likewise, some websites can recognize when traffic is coming from a known VPN provider. But notice something important. Even after all of this information is displayed, we still haven't learned the person's name. We haven't seen their passwords. We haven't accessed their private photos. We haven't opened their documents. And we certainly haven't gained control of their computer. That's because an IP address is not a key. It's simply a network identifier. One common myth on social media claims that if someone posts your IP address online, your entire digital life is instantly compromised. In reality, that's an enormous exaggeration. Knowing someone's IP address alone does not magically bypass security. It doesn't reveal encrypted conversations. It doesn't expose banking information, and it doesn't provide instant access to personal files. So if that's true, Why do cybersecurity professionals, and sometimes attackers, pay so much attention to IP addresses in the first place? The answer isn't the address itself. The answer is what might be connected behind it. Now we arrive at the question that often creates the most confusion. If an IP address doesn't reveal your passwords or instantly give someone access to your computer, why do attackers care about it at all? The answer is simple. An IP address is often the starting point, not the destination. Imagine walking through a neighborhood at night. You don't know what's inside each house, but you can see which doors are open. On the internet, attackers do something similar. Instead of physically walking down a street, automated systems continuously examine millions of IP addresses around the world, looking for devices and services that are accidentally exposed to the public internet. These systems aren't usually targeting one specific person. They're searching for easy opportunities. For example, a home router with outdated firmware, a remote desktop service left open by mistake, a security camera using a default password, or a network storage device that was never properly secured. These kinds of mistakes are far more valuable to an attacker than the IP address itself. Think of the IP address as the street address. The real question is whether any doors or windows have been left unlocked. This is also why organizations constantly monitor their own networks. Companies perform security assessments to identify unnecessary services, outdated software, and devices that should never be reachable from the internet. The goal is to find these weaknesses before someone else does. Cybersecurity teams also pay close attention to login attempts. Imagine an employee usually signs in from Germany every weekday. Suddenly, there are login attempts from another country only minutes later. That doesn't automatically mean the account has been compromised, but it is unusual. Combined with other security information, an IP address can help identify suspicious activity and trigger additional verification. However, it's important to avoid another common misconception. People sometimes believe that hiding their IP address solves every cybersecurity problem. Unfortunately, that's not true. Even if someone cannot see your real home IP address, they may still trick you through phishing emails, malicious downloads, fake login pages, or social engineering. In many real-world incidents, attackers never need to know the victim's IP address at all. Instead, they simply convince someone to click the wrong link or install malicious software. That's why cybersecurity is never about relying on a single layer of protection. It's about combining good habits, secure software, regular updates, and strong authentication. So while your IP address is certainly part of your online identity, it is only one small piece of a much larger security picture. Understanding that difference is one of the most important lessons in cybersecurity. In the final part of this video, we'll look at practical steps you can take to reduce your exposure online, explain where VPNs actually help and where they don't, and separate some of the biggest cybersecurity myths from reality. So after everything we've learned, what's the best way to protect yourself? The good news is that you don't need to be a cybersecurity expert to dramatically improve your online security. In fact, some of the most effective protections are also the simplest. Start with your home router. Many people install a router once and never think about it again. Years can pass without checking for firmware updates, changing the default settings, or reviewing which services are enabled. Keeping your router's firmware up to date helps fix known security vulnerabilities that could otherwise be exploited. If you don't use remote administration, disable it. If you don't need port forwarding, leave it turned off. The fewer services exposed to the public internet, the smaller your attack surface becomes. Next, think about your passwords. Using the same password across multiple websites is one of the biggest security mistakes people make. If one website suffers a data breach, attackers often try those same credentials on email accounts, social media platforms, online stores, and banking services. Instead, use long, unique passwords for every important account. A password manager can make this much easier by generating and storing strong passwords for you. Another powerful layer of protection is two-factor authentication. Even if someone somehow learns your password, they would still need the second verification step to access your account. This single feature has prevented countless account takeovers. Now let's talk about VPNs. VPN advertisements often make bold claims, suggesting they make you completely anonymous or impossible to track. The reality is more nuanced. A VPN creates an encrypted connection between your device and the VPN server. As a result, websites generally see the VPN server's public IP address instead of your home internet connection. This can improve privacy, especially when using public Wi-Fi networks, and it can help prevent websites from directly seeing your home IP address. However, a VPN is not a magic shield. It won't stop phishing attacks. It won't remove malware from an infected computer. It won't protect accounts that use weak or reused passwords, and it won't fix security problems caused by outdated software. A VPN is one useful tool, but it's only one part of a much larger security strategy. Perhaps the biggest lesson from this video is this: an IP address is not a secret password. It doesn't instantly reveal your identity, your photos, your messages, or your files, but it is still an important part of your digital footprint. It can reveal information about your internet connection, your provider, your approximate location, and the type of network you're using. For cybersecurity professionals, this information helps defend networks and investigate suspicious activity. For attackers, it's simply one piece of information that may help them identify potential targets, but only if other security weaknesses already exist. The strongest defense has never been hiding a single piece of information. It's keeping your devices updated, using strong authentication, being cautious online, and understanding how the technology you use every day actually works. The more you understand your digital footprint, the harder it becomes for anyone to take advantage of it. If you enjoyed this cybersecurity breakdown and want to see more real-world security demonstrations, network investigations, and technology explained in a simple way, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and stay safe online.